Swami Padma, and I am here today with you for Yogananda's Whispers from Eternity on Thursday, October 29th. And we have a very intense one today. The demand for the cure of the anger habit. O Spirit, Father, save me from the fever attacks of anger that have burned my brain, stressed my nerves, and poisoned my very blood. O Father, when I am tempted to be angry, place before me a mirror of introspection. Let me see my face then, distorted and ugly with wrath. Father, as I don't like to be seen disfigured, let me not show myself before others with a face made repulsive by wrath. Father, help me to dissolve this anger like a lump of earth cast into the lake. Want of self-control only makes me and others also shudder with misery. Bless me that I may never injure the love I bear others and their love for me with the selfish knife thrusts of vexation. Bless me that I feed not my anger with more anger. Teach me how to cure any wounds it inflicts by applying the salve of self-respect and the balsam of kindness. Command every storm of anger that arises suddenly to pause ere it breaks, lest it engulf my mind. Help me to see only kindness reflected in my mental lake. Why disturb those calm waters with blasts of disharmony, producing only misery and useless agitation? Show me, Father, that even my self-appointed worst enemy is still my brother, and that thou lovest him even as thou lovest me. Whew, that's a pretty intense one. And it's a good one to know about, to know that it's in this book. The next time we find ourselves feeling even a little bubble trying to go towards anger. I'm reminded of a time in my life when I was younger, when I became aware of the fact that the things that really upset me, that got me emotional and, yes, sometimes angry, I would venture to say, although I think more intensely emotional in reaction to someone else's actions. I realized at a certain point that a week later or 2 weeks later, whatever that action had been that got me so upset, well, it didn't feel the same anymore. I was no longer angered by it. I was no longer frustrated and upset by it in the same way. Time had sort of distanced that particular event, whatever it was that triggered it, and it just didn't have the same hold on me. And I remember thinking consciously, I was pretty young, maybe in my 20s, early 30s. And I remember thinking, you know, I could just not get so upset in the moment because I know in another week or month, I won't remember it even in the same way. So why let it get me in that way? Swami Kriyananda tells a classic story. This is not about anger, but about being upset, where he was on his way to go skiing with some friends, and he was in a very old car. And at a certain point on the snowy road, the main highway, the car skidded and went into a bus. And the bus was fine, but his car was totaled. And so all he and his friends ended up climbing onto that bus to continue on their journey. And he was sort of singing a little bit to himself and smiling. And one of the passengers on the bus said, "Well, how can you be singing? Aren't you upset that this happened?" And he said, "Well, in another week, I won't even remember it and it will feel fine. So why not feel fine right now?" And maybe I remembered that. I don't know. I don't think I did consciously in relation to my own emotions and frustrations that I was just describing earlier. But the effect was, in fact, the same, which is we're going to feel better about things in a while, sometime after some time has lapsed. Why not feel better about them now? Why not choose kindness over emotion and strong reaction and anger? And meditation is the key. Meditation slows down the reactive process. And the more we're able to meditate and find that still center within, the less any outer circumstances or even self-judgments or perceptions of things we want to change in ourselves, they won't have that layer, they won't be laced with emotions like anger. We'll be able to be much more even-minded and at first maybe not react, and eventually we'll learn how to act in kindness to all things and all circumstances, irregardless of whether they end up being good things for us or not. It doesn't matter. Kindness will be our normal response to all circumstances, and it won't be out of a sense of compulsion to react. It will be out of a natural flow of the love in our hearts, the divine love that resides in our hearts. So that's the reading for today about transcending anger. Remember it, refer to it in Whispers from Eternity, should you find yourself needing a little bit of counsel in that way. Joy to you, and we'll